Who has ever become a millionaire on their own? Warren Buffett took 55 years to become a billionaire, while Jay Walker accomplished the same feat in less than a year. During the dot-com bubble, he founded Priceline.com, which caused his net worth to soar from nothing to billions. But Buffett is still at the top of the list and doesn't appear to be slowing down anytime soon. So that wasn't sustainable, as his net worth also collapsed when the bubble burst. You want to accumulate that kind of money. Money is a difficult game to play. It's taught, brutally competitive, and you can't succeed if you don't know the rules. The issue with most individuals is that they may put in a lot of effort throughout their entire lives, yet they still end up in poverty because they lack the knowledge of how to use their money to generate even more income. In other words, they lack investment knowledge. Assume you've been diligently saving and now have an extra $1,000 in your bank account. That is a success considering that only about 70% of Americans even have $1,000 extra in their bank accounts. Let's imagine that you're going to invest that money instead of using it to buy another useless device, or a pair of shoes that you will only wear once before storing them in your wardrobe for many years before finally throwing them away. But where do you put your first $1,000? Do you invest it in the stock market or in real estate? Which type of stocks do you purchase? Is $1,000 sufficient to begin investing? All of these and many more questions will be answered by us. Now, let's get started. Consider this example to gain a better understanding of what investing is and how it functions. Let's imagine you put in a lot of effort and saved $300,000. You could go to a Ferrari dealership and buy a luxurious car to show off your achievement. Or you could buy real estate, a house, and rent it out. You will receive at least $2,000 per month. You can sell it and recoup your initial investment if you decide you no longer want to obtain that $2,000 income each month. In fact, your investment's worth might even increase, resulting in a price increase when you decide to sell it. And that is how business is conducted. But $1,000 cannot be used to purchase real estate. Even if it wouldn't be enough for a down payment, you could still put that $1,000 into other investments and watch it grow. The simplest method is to deposit it into a savings account and earn interest. But why would a bank reward you for doing so? Should they not be billing you instead? No. You see, the bank will take your money and lend it to someone else at a greater interest rate, and it will split the profit with you. Briefly, that is how banks operate. The main issue with this tactic is that it isn't profitable because of the extremely low interest rates on deposits. The most you could possibly earn is 0.8%. Which means that if you deposit that $1,000 into a savings account, you will get an additional $8 in 12 months, which is unusually low given that the Fed targets an inflation rate of 2 to 3%, implying that if you do not receive at least these amounts over time, the real value of your assets will decline. But why are deposit account interest rates so low? Since the epidemic pushed the Fed to lower interest rates, there are generally low interest rates this year, which is encouraging people to borrow money and spend it. Once we emerge from this crisis in a year or two, the Federal Reserve will raise interest rates to 1, 2, or possibly 3%, which will result in an increase in interest rates on saving accounts as well. The purchase of government bonds is your second choice. A government bond is a security that the government issues to raise capital to fund expenditures. If the government decides it needs to build a school but lacks the funds to do so, it may issue an IOU, a document that states the US government owes the owner of the security the sum of the security's value plus interest. Although this example is obviously oversimplified, the main idea is nonetheless conveyed. Interest rates have a big impact on government bonds, so this year's extremely low interest rates have resulted in government bond rates of less than 1%. However, 2 years ago, when interest rates were high, government bond rates were as high as 3%. Considering that government bonds are the safest investments you can ever make, this is not a bad thing. Any investment has a certain amount of risk. What are the possibilities that the US government would not repay the loan that you have made to it? The failure of the US economy as a whole may be required for the US government to become bankrupt. Because of this, US bonds are regarded as the world's safest investments. However, you should think about investing in the stock market if you want to earn a bigger return like 10, 20, or 30%. For instance, just this year, the stock price of Amazon rose by more than 80%. The price of Google stock increased by close to 30%. The value of Tesla stock rose by 721%. You did hear that right. You did. 721%. Then why would anyone invest anywhere else when they could potentially triple or even double their money in the stock market? The solution is risk. For instance, there isn't much risk when it comes to government bonds. In actuality, it carries little danger. However, there is a chance that a specific firm could collapse or disclose poor financial results, and pretty much any unfavorable news can cause the stock price to fall. A product might be introduced by the company, and if consumers don't like it, it could result in some bad press, which could cause the price to drop. As a result, larger returns come with greater risk. Apple is a firmly established business with significantly lower failure risk than Tesla, but it also has less room for expansion than Tesla. As a result, Tesla grew by 721% this year, while Apple's only increased by 70%. How much risk you can accept without going crazy is something you have to decide for yourself. If you only have $1,000 left, it might not be a good idea to risk it all because you could lose the majority of it if things don't work out. Consequently, investing in an index is one approach for investors to reduce their stock market risk. An index fund would essentially invest in these top 500 US companies since the most well-known one, the S&P 500, monitors the 500 largest US corporations. While some of these businesses will undoubtedly fail, others will prosper. According to historical data, the S&P 500's return rate has generally been about 10% since the 1920s. As a result, purchasing a share of one of these index funds entails purchasing a modest stake in 500 of the largest US corporations. But how do you buy shares in these index funds? I mean, where do you start? You must first locate a broker. This person is qualified to sell you stocks. In the past, someone was always available, so you had to pick up the phone and dial his number to request that he sell you some shares. Do you recall the Wolf of Wall Street? He would make calls all day long trying to sell people worthless investments. Thank God, however, that it is the year to 2022, as conditions have greatly improved. Brokerage companies have developed apps like Robinhood, Webull, and others so they can purchase shares from the convenience of your smartphone. You can start investing immediately after downloading one of these apps and creating an account. I did my best to keep this video as straightforward as I could so that anyone who wants to begin investing can do so right now. I tried to address all of your questions in this brief video since I know how frustrating it can be to want to start investing but have a million questions. You can start investigating everything and eventually give up and try again a few months later. That's all for now. We hope you enjoyed yourselves and learned something new. If you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos. Click on our previous videos and learn 10 investments for beginners in 2022. Or click on All Rich Avoid These 11 Expenses to keep your knowledge growing.